The Chicago White Sox lost to the Angels on Monday, but the big story was the return of Liam Hendriks. He pitched the eighth inning, gave up a couple of runs, and was not as sharp as he would have liked to be, but he was out there pitching in a White Sox uniform at 35th and Shields after a successful battle against non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was a tough loss, but what an amazing moment for Liam and his family. White Sox will try to even up the series on Tuesday with Lucas Giolito on the mound.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome back to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter at Locked On Sox. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. This episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Head to birddogs.com/lockedonmlb for the most comfortable and versatile pants and shorts you'll ever own. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong diehard Chicago White Sox fan, recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. White Sox take on the Los Angeles Angels on Tuesday. Lucas Giolito is on the hill. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with Sirius XM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. Tough one for the Southsiders on Monday. State of the Sox, they are now 22-34, 7 games back in the AL Central. Sox lost to the Angels 6-4 on the South side. White Sox hit 3 home runs, which you thought maybe that would do it. But Michael Kopech was not the same pitcher. We saw a battle against the Royals and Cleveland. A tough way to start the homestand. But again, that big story was, of course, the return of Liam Hendriks. Welcome back, Liam Hendriks. A lot of stuff happening before the game and during the game. Emotional moment. They didn't even go to commercial break when he came into the game out of the dugout and the strobe lights going crazy. And he's got that hybrid Freddie Mercury, "We Will Rock You" kind of remix song. If you've never been there, if you've ever been to the Sox game for a Liam Hendriks entrance, it's quite the spectacle. So that was cool to see them stay on that, not go to commercial break, and you got to watch him enter out there from the bullpen. This is what Pedro Grifol had to say prior to the game. Again, this is bigger than baseball, right? This is about life and the diagnosis and the comeback and how he did it and how good he was prior to it and how he's going to be afterward. This is just bigger than the game itself. What he's done and how he's done it has been remarkable. It's an inspiration to everybody on this club. It's an inspiration to everybody who follows the game and knows Liam. Rick Hahn emerged and also spoke to the media. The last time he had an opportunity for a homestand, he did not say anything, but he crawled out of wherever he was hiding and took questions. This was some of these answers were put up on social media. Compliments of Vinny Duber and James Fegan and Scott Merkin do a great job of covering this team so closely. In evaluating the White Sox, Rick Hahn said May was better than April, but lamented inconsistencies. With players back from injuries, he sees the possibility for the Sox to play to their capabilities. Memorial Day is a traditional marker for longer-term decisions, but Hahn said it's too early for the White Sox to do so. This group This is a group that is now hopefully coming together as a full unit, and we'll see how it performs over the next several weeks before we have to make that decision. So, again, Rick Hahn peddling out that stuff he did during the offseason, banking on hope and health and luck and a return to accustomed levels. Now we're all going to put it back together here. We're now all coming together as one, and we're going to just turn the corner. It's going to happen magically, and so we don't have to worry about things for quite some time. He didn't specifically mention that the White Sox are in the AL Central, but you can kind of gather that from the type of comments he had. Rick Hahn said the first outing for Liam Hendriks would be getting his feet wet. Pedro Grifol said he would not pitch the ninth inning out of the gate, adding they hope the adrenaline of the game brings another uptick in stuff, velocity, performance. Liam is one of those special players who has the ability to connect with fans even if they never met him, Rick Hahn said. Whether it's the charitable work he does in the community or the authenticity that comes across when he gets interviewed or the way he's so honest and vulnerable about himself and what he's experiencing. In some ways, fans are going to feel like it's an old friend or relative who has fought through something and survived this and is now here to be celebrated. So Jimmy Lambert went to the IL with right ankle inflammation. That was per Rick Hahn. That's the corresponding move for Liam Hendriks. And both Mike Clevenger and Elvis Andrus could return this homestand. It's going to be an interesting situation when Elvis Andrus comes back, what they're going to do, because you've got Eloy Jimenez, who has come out and said once again, look, I don't like being a DH. I hate it. I want to be in right field. I've worked at it. Again, this is the same stuff we've been talking about, in the off season. We're like, yeah, that's cute. That's great, Eloy. Well, now after this appendectomy, now he really means it. And the White Sox are listening. He was back out there in right field. He hit a home run. And Romy Gonzalez, who's been playing second base quite a bit, he hit a home run. He has been really stinging the ball lately, something that Elvis Andrus was not doing. And honestly, I don't think you're going to lose any defense. I mean, Elvis Andrus was playing out of position anyway. Andrus is not the future with this ball club. I'm not saying that Romy Gonzalez is, but I think you've got to go with a hot hand right now as the Sox try to dig themselves out of this ridiculous hole they have created. So, you also got to get Berger in there. Sheets was playing some first base or trying to play first base on Monday. That didn't go so well. Berger was coming off the bench late in the game. Vaughn swung the bat well on Monday. So look, they got a lot of different moving parts. You've got Clint Frazier out there lingering. He has kind of shown well in a small sample size. He's serviceable. So I don't know about Elvis Andrus. I feel like he might be an odd man out. Also got Hanser Alberto. Sox have some decisions to make. Grifol and the coaching staff have some decision to make on playing time. How to get the maximum out of these guys that are performing, that are playing well. You got to ride that right now here, especially at this homestand. Weather's nice. Ball go far, team go far. Usually, White Sox hit 3 home runs, but could not overcome an early deficit from a 4-run first inning by the Angels. More on that in a moment. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make a fast break to FanDuel during the NBA playoffs because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's $2,500 back in bonus bets. If your first bet doesn't win, there's no better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/lockdown and get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/lockdown. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. White Sox face off against the Angels on Tuesday. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. Our Southsiders fell to the Halos 6-4 on Memorial Day. Michael Kopech got back on the mound, and boy, was he electric those two previous starts against the Royals and against the Guardians. We saw some magic. We saw some Kopech magic on Monday. He's got that fastball. It's lively. He was striking out guys, but we didn't see the control. That pinpoint control was just not there. That pitch count, wow, it skyrocketed quickly. Top of first, a walk to Mike Trout. He hit Ohtani in the shin. It looked like it really hurt. Then Brandon Drury with a 2-out, 3-run home run off of a pitch that screamed, hit me. Kopech did not have the pinpoint control. We have seen recently Theis with a 2-out solo home run, 4-0 Angels quickly. Kopech did have 3 strikeouts in the inning through 31 pitches. Bottom of first, Sox get on the board. Benintendi with a double. Eloy Jimenez RBI single, 4-1 Angels. Top of second, another hit batsman. Angels had the first 2 on, nobody out. Still, Kopech had that overpowering fastball, but it was tailing on him, coming out of his hand and just flying out of the zone. Kopech used a slider to get his 4th strikeout of the game. Trout was up once again. Kopech threw over Trout's head. He was all over the place. Sebi was very busy behind home plate early on. Kopech ended up striking out Mike Trout, so 2 away, went 3-1 to Ohtani, and he helped Kopech out by swinging at ball 4, pop out to Moncada. No further damage done except for the elevated pitch count, 58 pitches after 2. Bottom of second, ground out, fly out for our Chicago White Sox. Very quick inning. Not a lot of time, I thought, for Kopech to get a breather. Top of third, on its way to being a quick inning, then a full count base hit and a misplay by Sheets at first. He should have had that scoop from Moncada. It was tagged as an error by Moncada, but I think Sheets should have had that at first. Angels with 2 on, 2 outs. Kopech sitting 95 miles per hour with that fastball, going upstairs, going downstairs. Also, he seemed to find moments where he would just go right at the hitter, kind of right down Main Street with a little bit extra on it, 96, 97. Overthrowing, perhaps. I thought that a little bit when that ball was tailing out of the zone high or outside to a right-handed hitter. Maybe he was trying to get a little too much extra on that and was throwing, not pitching. Kopech got his 7th strikeout to end the inning. So after 3 hits, 4 earned runs, a couple of walks, 7 strikeouts, those 2 home runs, 76 pitches thrown. Bottom third, Sebi led off with a bloop single to right field, flipped a slider the opposite way. Tim Anderson struck out after a lengthy at-bat. Benintendi flew out to left field. And then Canning was on the mound for the Angels. Gave Luis Robert Jr. a heavy dose of sliders and a nasty changeup to finish him off. Look, that's the recipe to get Luis Robert out. Sox strand the leadoff hitter. Sebi never moved from first base. Bottom of 4, Kopech got his 8th and 9th strikeout. Gave up a Trout single, and that was it in the inning. Kopech had that awful first inning and really didn't allow much after that. Just a ton of pitches thrown. Bottom 4th, Canning had a devastating changeup working. Wow, they covered it quite a bit on the telecast on NBC Sports Chicago. Andrew Vaughn blasted a 2-out home run, made it 4-2 Angels. Vaughn hit an outside fastball to the right field seats for his 7th of the year. Top of 5th, Kopech out there with 95 pitches on his arm to start the inning. Gave up a 1-out single, and that was it for him. Santos came in for relief. Bottom of 5, Romy Gonzalez with a home run to lead things off. made it a 1-run game at that point. Sox bullpen featuring Santos and Middleton, they did a very nice job in the 6th and 7th. 0 hits, 1 walk. Middleton had 3 strikeouts in his inning. Bottom of 7, Los Angeles Angels unleash a guy, Ben Joyce, out of the bullpen. He is throwing absolute gas. They said on the telecast that he clocked in college a 105.5 mile per hour fastball, which I think was the fastest pitch recorded in college history. He was throwing 101, 102. Vaughn hit a slider for a leadoff base hit, but then Joyce just went back to the fastball and just nobody could do anything. I mean, 101, 102 with ease. This guy was pumping it. And then came the top of the 8th. I told you, NBC Sports Chicago, they didn't cut to commercial. They kept it on. They showed Liam coming out of the bullpen, standing ovation, a lot of electricity. It was such a moving moment. It really was. You could just sense it from him, of course, and flashing to his wife up in the suite, and it looked like there may be some family and friends there. A lot of emotion. Sox fans obviously giving him all the credit deserved, standing O. And right out of the gate, first pitch from Hendriks, 96 miles per hour, right down Main Street. Theis battled and got a base hit to center field, then stole second. Fielder's choice got him to third. Hendriks was sitting 95, 96 miles per hour. He issued a walk to Walsh. So runners on the corners, 1 out. Hendriks throwing a lot of pitches, laboring. I mean, you could tell he was gassed a little bit, just a lot of emotion. Had Neto at a full count, and he had a sac fly to right field. That made it a 5-3 Angels game. A bloop double for Moniak. Second and third with Trout up, ripped a liner that Tim Anderson could not hold onto at shortstop. Another Angel run came across, 6-3. Got Ohtani to ground out. Hendriks threw 27 pitches in his debut. Bottom 8, Sox trailed by 3. It was a quick inning. Angels threw some leather. Outstanding play by Neto at shortstop on a Luis Robert Jr. ground ball. We'll hear from Neto later, too, because he was throwing leather. Top of 9, Bummer in the game now. He had 3 strikeouts. Good to see that from Bummer. And then bottom of the 9th, Eloy Jimenez, solo home run, 6-4. You got to keep Jimenez's bat in the lineup. And if he likes now playing right field and maybe he's feeling better there, and the bat will follow, he just got to keep him healthy somehow. And I think the Sox are at a point where they're just saying, whatever you want, Eloy. You want to play right field? Okay, you're going to put up a whole stink that you hate DHing. You want to play right field? Go ahead. Play right field. Just be serviceable. Don't do anything dumb. Don't hurt yourself, because we need that bat right now. He's come back and he's been swinging. Vaughn was hit by a pitch. Sheets, he walked. So Berger came in a pinch hit. Hometown Berger. I mean, this guy's been electric. Berger represented the winning run, and it was an infield pop out. Then Yaz hit a sharp grounder to Neto at shortstop, and he had more than enough time to peg Grandal for the 3rd out. Game over. Kopech's final line, 4 1/3, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, a couple of walks, 10 strikeouts, 2 home runs. His ERA 4.52. Kopech settled down for the most part after that big first inning. But, when you're getting behind on hitters and you've got to come in with a fastball and you've got to have a competitive in the zone pitch, these Angels hitters, man, they're swingers and they've got some pop, and they made him pay. It wasn't the sharp first pitch strike, working quick. I liked his fastball. I liked his presence. Obviously, he got strikeouts, but he also had a lot of control problems. And, I need to see longer outings from Michael Kopech. Hendriks, his lone inning, again, that was the 8th, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 0 strikeouts. Sox offense, 4 runs, 8 hits. Those 3 home runs, Vaughn, Jimenez, and Gonzalez. Sox were 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Luis Robert Jr., 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Moncada, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. The White Sox try to even things up on Tuesday night with Giolito on the mound. More on that in a moment. Sox Angels, Tuesday night on the South Side. Game 2 of this 3-game series. Lucas Giolito will be on the mound. Last time we saw Gio, he had a very rough outing against the Detroit Tigers in the series opener. 3 2/3, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 home run, 7 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Wow, I got to see some improvements. I'll be watching this closely to see how he handles himself. But that was a game where I think the Sox walked 11 batters, and Giolito had 7 of those. This season, Giolito 3-4 with a 3.98 ERA. Giolito has a 2-1 record with an ERA of 3.79 and 51 strikeouts and 7 appearances against the Angels in his career. Giolito saw the Angels twice last year, a combined 12 innings, 13 hits, 5 earned runs, only 2 walks, and 13 strikeouts. Those are good numbers. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the Sox bounce back. We still got some warm weather on the South Side, so hopefully more home runs are flying out of the ballpark and we can keep the Angels in check. Thank you so very much for making this podcast part of your daily routine. You can find the Locked On White Sox podcast absolutely everywhere you find your podcast. We're on Twitter at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and get those questions in for the next mailbag. I think that's going to drop on Friday. Got some good ones in already. Get those questions in at lockedonsox@gmail.com. Sox take on the Angels on Tuesday on the South Side. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. Thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. Hey, everydayers, on the next episode, I will recap Lucas Giolito's start. Hopefully be talking about a White Sox winner. Appreciate you making time for the Locked On White Sox podcast. I'm Nick Morawski. Until next time, go Sox.